Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Ben, this is Bookshops Bonedust, and today I have for you my mid-month check-in for what has been an absolutely fantastic first 2 weeks of my reading month. So I am just so excited, first of all, to show off a book on its release day. This is Bold Ascension by Von Roycroft, book 2 of the Sunder Nation trilogy. So I really enjoyed the book 1, Severing Sun, last year. And this is just a beautiful cover. I've seen lots of people praising that cover. Yeah, just some of the best book art I have ever seen. The full painting is just gorgeous. Love the colors. And it's very suitable for this book. So I actually read an earlier version of this book a bunch of months ago as a beta reader. And so I've just been kind of slowly making my way through as in kind of a reread. And I already saw a whole new chapter that is a new addition that I thought was a really awesome addition for the story and the main characters. So it's been fun seeing some of the differences, but also going back through this again, I think as other readers are reading it now will be quite fascinating. So congrats, Vaughn, on this second book launch. I started this month out returning to the realm of the Elderlings with the Rainwild Chronicles. So I was supposed to just read one of these books per month with my buddy read with Colin's Corner, but I love Dragon Keeper so much that I just had to go right into Dragon Haven. So I read both of these back to back, both 5 stars, and this was a case of having fairly low-ish expectations and then just having them blown out of the water. It's kind of really nice when that happens. And a lot of times the opposite happens from BookTube, where I get really hyped for a book or a series or an author, and then it doesn't land as much as I would hope. But the opposite happened, where I just immediately got immersed in this new plot with these new POV characters in Dragon Keeper. And I just felt like Hobb was doing some incredibly efficient storytelling, setting up this new cast and this main plot. And then over the course of 2 books, so we go on this very focused journey with the POV characters, all in kind of the same place. And so we get the same events through all these different viewpoints, and it really switches between those POVs pretty quickly. So the pacing felt much faster than in Live Ship Traders, and definitely from Tawny Man trilogy, where things were very deliberate. So a lot of narrative events are happening all the time in here. And at the end of these 2 books, we've kind of reached a culmination of a lot of plot and character arcs. So this kind of feels like a subseries within the subseries of the Rainwild Chronicles. So I'm so intrigued to see where it goes, but it felt like a natural stopping point. Whereas these 2 books kind of really just tell one single story split up into 2 volumes. I had a blast with this, and I can easily see why others might not love this particular plot and situation, because it does involve a bunch of kind of angsty teens or young adults kind of thrown together, and it's very understandable that people wouldn't love that dynamic. And it's probably not too much of a spoiler if you see the covers or know the titles of these books that dragons are involved. And I know some people might not be too happy with what the dragons are like here, but I grew so attached to everyone. The dragons, the human characters here. I found the POV characters to be so relatable. The female POVs, especially Thymara and Elise, to be so easy to just root for and deeply empathize with. And man, these are some of my favorite Realm of the Elderlings books, honestly. And Dragon Keeper might be my favorite book 1 out of all of the book 1s so far, in terms of just my emotional investment, how quickly I got gripped to the situation and the characters. It just had me gripped in a way that Ship of Magic took much longer to get me there to that same point. And so I just loved these first 2 Rainwild Chronicles books, and so happy that I kind of bucked the trend and don't think that these are a step down from all the other Realm of the Elderlings stuff. So very happy Hobb continued her series in this direction. I had a blast. After finishing Dragon Haven, I took a complete left turn with my reading. because I went to a very heavy literary fiction novel that I had read about 10 years ago. But I actually put this on Jimmy's raffle for his patrons. He does this monthly raffle and spins the patron raffle box and takes out a ping pong ball. And I actually won the raffle, and the book that I had that I thought he would connect with was Disgrace by J.M. Coetzee, a South African author. And he won the Nobel Prize about 20 years ago, is very famous in literary fiction world. And I read around 9 of his books, but mostly in my post-college days when I was really heavy into literary fiction and depressing books and had not yet gone on my massive fantasy and science fiction binge. I actually have not read a purely realist literary fiction book in about 5 years. So this was interesting because when I won the raffle and Jimmy was going to pick it up, I was like, okay, let me refresh my memory on this and give it a read through again. And wow, this is so intense. I can see why I've always thought of it as one of my favorite novels. It is a very deep literary fiction page turner. It's just a little more than 200 pages long, taking place in post-apartheid South Africa, about a middle-aged romantic poetry professor. The professor early on essentially coerces an unenthusiastic female student into a sexual relationship, and those are just, it's presented in a way that's extremely uncomfortable. It doesn't get graphic on the page, but in terms of just how it goes down, it just absolutely feels horrendous. And so if that's a general type of situation that you just are not interested in experiencing and reading, it's very understandable. There's also events later on that have to do with volunteering at an animal shelter and assisting in the euthanasia of dogs that don't get adopted. So some really heavy, difficult things come up in this book. Yeah, this is a very interesting, gripping novel where the main POV character does a lot of reprehensible bad things. It feels like you're really down in the muck with the darker aspects of humanity and our social dynamics. And honestly, it's an amazing read, but I think shows me why I have so enjoyed my veering off towards speculative fiction, because I enjoy having my reality here on this earth transcended and being transported to a more heroic time and place where all of the ills of our history and current social ills and societal ills can be transcended and try to be fought against and overcome. And it's interesting to go to this place, but when I'm already feeling like I have a good sense of the depressing aspects of our times and our human nature, I enjoy just having that transcended or showing that we can overcome some of these things. But very interesting questions are asked and posed here. You're not given many answers. An absolutely worthwhile book. And, I still have a couple of Coetzee books that I have not read. So I'll probably try to finish those up at some point when I'm in that mood. After Disgrace, I really needed a pick-me-up, and a new release came in that I thought was just the right read at the right time, and it turned out to be the case. That is Bookshops Bonedust by Travis Baldree. So this is the follow-up prequel to Legends and Lattes. And honestly, this just delivered exactly what I was hoping out of a Legends and Lattes prequel. Baldree is really, really good at doing a found family kind of plot around getting a small business up and running, or in this case, trying to revitalize a long-established but struggling small business. That's the bookshop in the title. And here's the proprietor of the bookshop. That's a kind of cat-ratkin kind of hybrid that is named Fern, who's running the family bookshop. And it is, at the start of this book, in a lot of disrepair and has very few customers. And the main character, Viv, is kind of a young adult, kind of just starting out as in this mercenary group and got injured. And Viv is convalescing in this seaside town and discovers the bookshop. And one of the great joys of this book is that the Fern, the bookshop owner, starts putting books in Viv's hands that is encouraging Viv to have this real love of reading. Viv is discovering that she's loving reading. We get little excerpts from the books that she's reading, which are great. She gets really just passionate about reading and connecting to these situations in books that she's finding resonance with things going on in her own life. And there's this little animal companion here. It's like an owl and dog hybrid, Griffith, that's named Pot Roast. It's a wonderful little animal companion. There's some other characters around town. There's a bakery that gets involved, and Baldry is so great at these kind of cozy interior and exterior spaces that take place by the beach, in the bookshop, in the bakery, with all of these great sensory images, with the sights and sounds and smells and touch that is just so immersive. I'm feeling like I'm in these spots, getting me kind of feeling all this cozy warmth for the small and quiet joys in life. And that's what I got out of Legends and Lattes, and this book honestly delivered in a lot of the same ways. It does have a kind of fantasy intrigue plot that gets woven in throughout that didn't really land with me, and so I ended up giving this 4 stars, but everything around the bookshop and the new friends and acquaintances, the romance in this book, there's a kind of theme around when we go someplace temporary in life and form temporary bonds and friendships and maybe some romance, and dealing with the temporary nature of that, and then moving on. And I thought that really landed with me because I've had some similar experiences in my life of some very intense temporary experiences, and then the impact that so many people or places have had on you, and then you move on later, and just dealing with that in the moment when you know it's temporary is really fascinating to me. So I thought Baldry just completely nailed his work on some of these themes. And once again, just such a cozy, warm read that I really enjoyed and came along at the perfect time. And sometimes just a nice, solid 4-star read is exactly what you need. And that's what this one gave me. So I've been seeing that a lot of people who love Legends Lattes didn't really have a good experience with this one. So definitely don't know if my experience is going to be yours if you pick this one up. But I ended up really liking this one. So what am I reading now? I picked up another new release that I just got my hands on. That is Trader of Red Winter by Ed McDonald. It's book 2 in the Red Winter Chronicles. Really loved Daughter of Red Winter, book 1 last year. And I'm picking back up and finding I am getting absorbed in this story once again. I really do not love taking these kind of year-long breaks in the midst of this epic fantasy story. I definitely prefer binging, and so in the future, I think I'm going to be a little bit more careful about when I start series and pick up books, because I think I would have just been much more into this one if I just continued right after Daughter of Red Winter. But this series, I think, is for Robin Hobb, Realm of the Elderlings fans. I think we'll find a lot to love here. There's a very deep, nuanced, kind of emotional core to this that really reminds me of being in Fitz's perspective. So enjoying this so far. And then I also want to make sure I get to another new release, which is System Collapse, the newest murder bot. So I'll probably be dipping into this one as well. I might just do this one in print and do Trader of Red Winter a lot with the audio, and Samara McLaren's a great narrator for that one. But yeah, I'm trying to be better about just reading the new releases as they come in, because I got a whole load of new releases last year that I'm still sitting on a lot of them. Although, maybe that's good because I can wait until more of the books are out in those series and binge more of them. But yeah, I do want to make sure if I am spending the money on the new hardcovers that I am getting to those and contributing to the kind of new release buzz and conversation, which is fun as well. So we'll see how that one goes. Murderbot has mostly been positive for me, although the last novella was, just felt less impactful than a lot of the other stories, and the full-length novel also just felt like a step down for me. So this one is actually more like a short novel length. There hasn't been a Murderbot book of this size yet, and I am intrigued, because I've often felt like the novellas have been a little too slim, but maybe that novel, Network Effect, was a bit too long. So, I don't know, this one might just hit a certain sweet spot for the length of a Murderbot book, and I am very hopeful about that. So, that was my month so far. Let me know if you have also loved any of these reads or excited to try any or have any disagreements. And yeah, I'll catch you later.